Hi guys, welcome back. So we are still busy with some simple interest and simple decay. First segment, we looked at our simple interest and exactly what does it mean. We looked at different opportunities or options that we will get if we wanted to save money. If you have a piggy bank, what does that mean for the money that you put in there? But if you go to a financial institution and they give you a simple interest of 12%, what does that mean as well? So that's what we've been looking at so far. Now let's go down and look at simple decay. So decay will be the opposite of appreciation. Remember the first word I used? I said we're going to look at appreciation. Now we're looking at depreciation, which is the same as decay, right? So they use the word decay and depreciation interchangeably so, and they quite mean one and the same thing. So the big idea is decay. We have straight line and reducing balance. And then, but we are focusing on the straight line, which is the same as the simple interest decay. Our keywords are decay and depreciation. The reason I'm using both of them is because I want you to realize that these mean the same thing. It just means a decrease of what we are talking about. Now, if we look at this, have you ever thought about if you were to maybe have a certain value of an asset that you bought, maybe, let's say, a computer, and you bought it for 4,000, right? And you bought this for 4,000. After a year, how much will it be? After 2 years, how much will it be? After 3 years, how much will it be? After 4 years, how much will it be? So clearly you know that almost all the gadgets, the same as maybe cars, when you buy them, as soon as you have used it, you can't sell it at the very same amount that you bought it with. And that's what decay and depreciation is all about. And this is what straight line depreciation is. So you can see at the end of year 2, this will actually be worth 3,000, but you bought it at 4,000. At the end of year 3, you will see that it's actually now worth 2,000, which is now half what you bought it for. And at the end of year 4, you will find that it's now 8,000 rand. So what does that mean? You've actually made a loss. But it's not really a loss because you've actually used this particular goods. And then you've tried to do everything. So the person that's going to use it as well, it might now be slow because it's a computer. You know, after some time, it becomes slow. The processor does not process quickly. When you're trying to do things, it does not have enough space anymore, and all of those things. Now, if we look at this in terms of a table, this is what we are talking about. So first year, you bought it, it was 4,000. Second year, it's now worth 3,000. Third year, it's now worth 2,000. Fourth year, it's now worth 1,000. So what does this mean? It's a decrease in the price that you bought it for. So that's what depreciation is all about. Depreciation is about a decrease in the price that you bought whatever the goods are that you bought at that time. One very big example of what depreciation is a car. You can buy a luxurious car, guys, maybe RS7, you know, Audi lovers there. So if you do buy that, as soon as you leave the dealership with that RS7, definitely you know that it will no longer be worth the millions that it is worth when you first went to buy it. It will be worth way less than that. So even if you were to say, can I please return this, I don't like it anymore, they're not going to give you the very same amount of money for that. But if maybe you go to a shop and you buy something and then you find that, okay, it's not something that you want, you know you can always go and get your refund back. But that's not what depreciation is about. Depreciation is about a decrease in value of the initial amount that you might have bought something with or actually invested at that time. Because remember that investment is not only about appreciation, it can also be about depreciation. So our big idea here is the principal amount. The principal amount is what you bought it for, right? So this is what you bought it for or what you invested at the time. And then we have what we call scrap value or book value. They also mean one and the same thing. And this will be what it is worth after a certain duration of time. And then we have the rate of depreciation. So that will tell us at what rate is the amount that you bought it for depreciating at. So the computer that we saw, how much was it depreciating at what rate? That's what rate of depreciation is. But now let's put this into mathematics and see exactly what does it mean. The equation for this will be, remember I said it's a simple interest, but simple interest, which means depreciation in this context. So depreciation would then be a minus. That's the big idea here. So my A will be the scrap value, principal amount would be the P, then the rate of depreciation would be the R. Now what I want you to think about there, guys, is you need to think about between the A and the P, which one will be more than the other? Let me just give you a minute to think about that. So clearly you know that it will be the A that will be less than the P. So meaning the principal amount will be a bit more, or actually way more than the A. Because the A will be the, as it is even saying, scrap value. So it's like now you no longer want to use it and you are selling it. Or you are maybe taking it back to the dealership to say, okay, can I now sell this, trade it in? At times you'll see they use the word trade in value as well. It means one and the same thing. It means it is the value that it has decreased to after a certain duration of time. Now, if we were to calculate this, so we have a transport company which purchases a new lorry to the value of that. So the value is 1,250,000. Now we need to calculate the scrap value of the lorry in 6 years' time, right? If the lorry's value decreases, depreciates means one and the same thing, at a rate of 11% per annum according to the straight line method. Remember guys, when I spoke about the big idea here, there were two concepts, straight line and reducing. So they always need to emphasize which method we are dealing with at the time. So if I do a calculation for this, is my formula will then be A is equals to P 1 minus I multiplied by N, right? So quickly, if we look at our data, remember that A is what I don't know, that's my scrap value, but P will actually be the 1,250,000. And then my I, which is the interest, will be 11% on a straight line method. So I will emphasize that it's a straight line method so that when you do your calculation, you don't confuse the two. Now with this, if I do the calculation, it will then be equals to 1,250,000 into 1 minus, my interest is 11%, so it's 0.11 multiplied by this, they said is 6 years, right? And then we'll just need our calculator for that. Let me just put it this side. So that will be 1,250,000. Let's minus 1 0. Okay, I need one more zero there. Open a bracket. This will be 1 minus 0.11 multiplied by the 6, and then this will be equals to that. So you can see, guys, after 6 years, this is gonna be worth 425,000, right? So after 6 years, this will be 425,000. So what does this mean? This is the whole concept of depreciation. They initially bought their truck for 1,250,000. After 6 years, the truck is now worth way less than that. Why? Because there is tear and wear that happened on the truck. There is tires that maybe are no longer properly working. There is the system, the mechanical systems that need to be changed. So now the truck is no longer as strong as it was when you started, when you bought it at 1 million something. So hence it is depressed. So there's a lot of factors that will then contribute to this. So remember again, I said the A value will always be less than the P value. Why? Because A would be the scrap value or the book value or the trade-in value. whereas the p-value will be what you bought it with or your principal amount. Now, let's look at maybe one more example. A business now purchases 16 new computers, right? They purchase 16 new computers at 11,500, right? These, would be your i8s and all of those computers that are quite good in terms of processors. Now, if each computer has a value of 1,000 rand after 3 years, hey, 1,000 rand would be the value of A. So it's the scrap value. What did it decrease to? And then remember the 11,500 will be the P value. Calculate the depreciation rate if depreciation is calculated according to the straight line. Guys, I will emphasize, you need to be told what method you are dealing with. Is it a straight line or a reducing balance? Remember that they are very different. Now, if I do the calculation for this, so the P value here was the 11,500. The A value went as down as 1,000 rand. And then the I value is what I don't know, which is the rate of depreciation, but this was for 3 years, right? So my calculation will be A is equals to P 1 minus I multiplied by N. Then this is 1,000 rand there, equals to the P value is 11,500 into 1 minus, I'm looking for the I, multiply this by the 3 years, which is 3 there. Then we'll just go to our calculator. On our calculator, firstly, I will take the 1,000 rand, you divide it by the 11,500, you find what the answer is there, and then you know that you're going to say 1 minus the answer, and it gives you that, which is 0.91, and then you're going to divide this by the 3, and you get that value there, then you multiply it by 100, right? So it gives you the actual rate, which is 30.43. So I will actually be 30.43%. So that's just, guys, some algebra that you will need to perform there. So you need to understand that the initial price that you bought the computer for, or this business bought the computer for, has now gone down by 30% in 3 years' time. Why, guys? I just told you there are a lot of factors that contribute to this. The processor might be slow, you might have used the laptop a lot, and when it's a business, the laptops or the computers will always be working. So definitely it would have been really overworked. Hence, you can now sell it for only 8,000 rand and nothing more than that. So the rate in this context will then be the 30%, 43%. Now, if we look at more of this, so they say the owner recognizes that she will need to upgrade these 16 computers, right, in 3 years' time. Why? Because now the business has picked up, and now there are more clients in the business, and now the business needs to be blooming. So now they need to upgrade their system and maybe get proper computers at that time. Now, the cost of the new computer will be 18.5. Why? Because now they need a faster processor, they need a bigger RAM, they need a bigger storage, all of those concepts of computers and all that I'm sure that you're familiar with. Now, the question will be, how much must she then invest now? If her banker says, we will give you a guaranteed return of 4.5% per annum, simple interest for 3 years. Now let's quickly just look at this. One, the big idea here is 16 computers for that much, for 3 years rather, and each computer is 18,500. So in total, it means the total amount that this person actually will need will be the 16 multiplied by the 18,500. That's how much they will need after 3 years to replace the computers that they have at the time. And then interest, which is charged at that. So This is simple interest. It will be A is equals to P into 1 plus I multiplied by N, right? The P is what I'm looking for. The A will be the 16 multiplied by that. So that means my A will be 16 multiplied by 18,5, which is actually 296,000, right? So A will be 296,000 is equals to, I'm looking for the P value, which is what she must invest now, 1 plus, the interest that is guaranteed is 4,5, so it's 0,045 multiplied by the N, which is actually 3 years, right? So that's 3 years, not necessarily N, 3 years. And then we will need to find what the value of P is. So here it will just be a straight forward division. So it will be, I will take my answer there, which is 296, and I divide this by, let me open my bracket, 1 plus 0.045 multiplied by 3, close my bracket, and that will give me 260,000 and a couple of rands, right? So this will be 260,000. Let's just verify the actual amount, 792 and a few cents there. So what does this mean? So if they want to do, or if she wants to then upgrade after a while, she will need to invest definitely that amount of money for her to actually have the 296,000. But remember, this is simple interest, so that's why she actually needs to invest a lot of money. Why? Because every year they will be adding the same amount of money. So the change is a very constant change there. So I hope, guys, that clarifies what it means to have decay or depreciation, which means the same thing, which is the opposite of what simple interest is. Stay tuned, guys. We're just going to an ad break, and I'll be back with some more.